What's happening, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. I am D-WIZZLE here with another movie review. Today we're talking about the newest film starring Timothy Chalamet. It is the prequel to Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, simply called Wonka. To those of you who don't know, I've already did reviews on the original Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory movie, and I talked about the Tim Burton remake, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. If you guys haven't seen those reviews, check out my channel. I have a playlist called Willy Wonka, and you can see reviews for both of those. But let's not waste more time. Let's get into Wonka. So, if you guys have followed my channel, you guys know that Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory is one of my favorite films of all time. Love that film. It's such a delight. I love the music. I love the, Willy Wonka himself, the Oompa Loompas. Charlie in that movie was really good, and just exploring his factory and how he makes his exotic chocolate and candy. It's all great fun. It's such a delightful film. And then the remake with Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, directed by Tim Burton. I thought it was just average, mediocre at best. Not a very memorable movie. I did not like Johnny Depp as Willy Wonka at all, and I didn't like the Oompa Loompas that much. But there's some stuff in there that's okay, like the production value and the performances outside of Willy Wonka and the Oompa Loompas were pretty good, I guess. So for the longest time, we haven't heard anything from Willy Wonka as far as like movies and shows. I know there was that weird movie with Tom and Jerry, and they did like a Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory movie, which I did not see. I didn't really care to see that, but outside of that, it's been kind of silent the past like 10 years or so, or even more since like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory came out. That haven't they haven't really talked about doing a Willy Wonka film up until the past 5 years, I guess. Then we started to hear rumblings that they were going to do a Willy Wonka movie, and I didn't really know how to feel about it, to be honest. After Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, like, I don't know, that kind of like lessened my excitement to seeing more Willy Wonka films. And then, as the movie was getting closer, hearing that Timothy Chalamet was going to come and play Willy Wonka, and this Willy Wonka movie was supposed to be a prequel to the original film. I was against it. I'm going to be very real with you. I was against this because I did not think that Timothy Chalamet fit the role. I think he was completely miscast, and I just didn't know why they chose him specifically. Probably for the star power, obviously, but outside of that, like, I just don't look at Timothy Chalamet and think, oh yeah, he reminds me of a young Gene Wilder. Like, if this is supposed to be a prequel, like, you should try and get somebody that resembles more of the original actor. And it just, Timothy Chalamet just felt like blatant star power they wanted to get, just to capitalize on his popularity from Dune and other stuff like that. So I don't know. I thought that was a weird choice. And just the overall idea of them doing a prequel to Willy Wonka, I thought that wasn't really a good idea either, because they kind of tried to do that with Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, giving Willy Wonka a backstory, and that didn't fully work for me. And I just don't understand their fascination with giving Willy Wonka a backstory. We don't need to know a backstory with Willy Wonka. Like, why can't we just treat him just like this magical entity and that's it? It's like giving Mary Poppins a backstory. Like, that will take away from the mysticism of the character. So I don't know, but regardless, I was open to seeing what was in store for this at the time, I guess. And then finding out that the person that they were going to get to direct this movie was the person that did the Paddington movies, and I have not seen the Paddington films. I'm going to be very honest with you. I know a lot of people love the Paddington movies, and they say they're some of the best films ever made. I find that very far fetched, but I had to see for myself. So this is the first thing I'm seeing the director do. What's the director's name? Paul King. So yeah, this is the first thing I will see Paul King do. And when I saw the trailers for this movie, I was not impressed at all. It looked very hokey. It looked very cheesy. it didn't really give me that similar feel that I got from the original movie. Granted, it did try harder for me than Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, but still not enough for me to be like, I want to see this opening weekend, you know. But from what I hear from the previous Paul King movies with Paddington, the trailers for those looked really bad, but people end up liking the movie anyway. So maybe this would be a similar thing with this. I don't know. Only time will tell. So hearing the early reviews for this, a lot of people were really liking this movie, and so that gave me a little bit more optimism going in, because there were some people I heard that didn't like the trailers, but then they ended up liking the movie when they saw it. So I was thinking, okay, maybe when I see the movie, I will think differently, and all my preconceived notions I'm going to leave at the door. I'm going to watch it with an open mind. So that's what I ended up doing. Sitting down and watching this, I was pleasantly surprised. I did like this movie. It was an enjoyable time. It was a lot of fun. It was very whimsical. It was much more heartfelt than I thought it was going to be. But overall, it's a very nice feel good movie, you know. Um I didn't love this film. I did think, as far as this movie being a prequel to Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, there was some clunky things here and there, but overall as a film by itself, it's fun. It's nice. It's delightful. I would be lying if I said I didn't have a smile on my face the majority of this film. But yeah, but overall, yeah, I thought it was pretty good. Um, I guess I'll start with Timothy Chalamet because he's the first thing on my mind. Um, so I thought he was good. I thought he did a good job. He was a lot better than I thought he was going to be. Um, Pretty much, I have not seen Timothy Chalamet in this type of role before, and I didn't think he would fit in this type of role. That's one of the reasons why I thought he was completely miscasted in this. But he was very, very charming. There were certain mannerisms he was trying to emulate from the original Willy Wonka, but he made the role his own, which I did kind of respect, and like it didn't feel completely out of place as much as I thought it was going to be. Um, and I didn't expect how good of a singer that he was too, and good of a dancer that he is. This makes me actually want to see him more in musical films in the future. But as Willy Wonka, I did really like him, and I like with this version, this younger version of Wonka. We're starting out with him having dreams and aspirations to become a chocolate maker. So he hasn't gotten his factory yet. We're seeing his journey of him becoming, this chocolate maker, and finding out a way to make his own store, and getting the resources to and the money to make the candy that he wants, and just seeing that the town that he's in that's rejecting his ideas for chocolate because they're so weird and zany and out there, and it causes some weird reactions to people, which is very similar to what they do in the original movie. And then there's some slight, hints of, stuff with his family. I remember Charlie and Chocolate Factory. They addressed that he has a dad. In this one, he has we talk about his mom, and that stuff was kind of nice. It was nice. I wish we could have had a little bit more of it. If you are going to give him a backstory, I just wish they explored that more, and they didn't really do that much. And that's just one of the things that just really confuses me with them trying to give a backstory to Willy Wonka. Like, you want to give him a backstory, but you don't fully go into everything. You just hint at things here and there, and I just find that really frustrating. And just to go into a little bit of my negatives, while I did like Timothy Chalamet in this, I still didn't feel like he completely encapsulated the role that Gene Wilder did in the original. And am I expecting him to fully emulate his performance? No, but if you are playing the same character as he was in the original movie, if this is a prequel, I'm expecting more mannerisms and more traits that makes me believe that you will eventually turn into the Willy Wonka we see from the original movie. Because one kind of criticism I had with him is that he seems a bit too fluffy in this. Like, I needed a little bit more edge with Timothy Chalamet, because Gene Wilder's performance in the original, like he did have that whimsical, joyous, like fairy tale type of personality towards him, but he had a little side of him that was a little bit crazy, a little bit off, a little bit, mad. I didn't really get that from Timothy Chalamet, and they didn't really put any hints that he would turn into that. So that's something I personally would have liked to have seen more of. Also, I would like to have a little bit more explanation of how he creates his exotic chocolate that makes people have weird reactions to it. Like, yeah, he talks about he got this stuff from different places across the world, but I would like to know how he actually went about to make the chocolate itself. I want to see how those magic things from the chocolate and the candy, how does it get that reaction? That's something they could have dove into more, but they just leave that oblivious to it. Maybe that's just part of the magic that we don't really need to know. But once again, if you're going out of your way to explain how Wonka got to where he is, like I just really wish they didn't have those holes in there like that. But to go on to the rest of the cast, one other character I was really surprised by was Noodle, played by Calla Lane. I hope I said her name correctly, but I'll be honest, I didn't think I would really care for any of the supporting characters in here. But like Noodle, actually, I really, really liked her, and the chemistry and the relationship that she builds with Wonka, I think is really, really good. There's this whole subplot that she's an orphan, and she has to serve with these really mean people at a bar slash motel type of thing. That's run by Olivia Colman and Tom Davis's character, and they're treating him badly. And then Wonka stumbles across there where they live, and he ends up being forced to work there and stay there, and like being treated badly by Olivia Colman's character and Tom Davis's character. And pretty much the whole thing is like Wonka, Noodle, and a few other people that is in debt to Olivia and Tom. I forgot the characters' names. I'm going to be very honest. I'm sorry. But we have other people in there working for them, like Jim Carter and Natasha Rothwell and Rich Fulcher and Rocky Takar. I know I butchered their names and I apologize, but that whole, those people and Noodle and Wonka build, all of them turning into this team that eventually helps Wonka, build his store and help build, create his chocolate and stuff like that. And them actually forming a relationship and trying to get out of this debt that he has with those mean people that run the bar. I actually found that really, really endearing. That caught me by surprise. As I said, this movie does have a lot of heart, and so that's something I definitely really appreciated from that. As far as Olivia Colman and Tom Davis, they were the typical mean antagonists, and they act kind of dumb, and they look dirty and gross, whatever. So they played their part, which it was fine. The main antagonists, the chocolate cartel, they were pretty good too. Once again, they were obstacle. They were the main people that created chocolate in their town, and their chocolate's pretty generic. And then Willy Wonka comes in with his exotic chocolate and is posing as competition to them, and they try to sabotage Willy Wonka's work and stuff like that. So that typical mean businessmen type of stuff. You've seen that before, and they serve their purpose there. It's kind of funny that there's chocolate cartels in this universe, but I guess all in good fun. As far as Keegan Michael Key being like the main policeman of the movie, I didn't really care for his performance. I'm going to be honest with you. I thought he was a little bit too goofy, especially because this is not really a spoiler, but there's a subplot where he keeps tasting Wonka's chocolate because it's so good, and it's like it's much more interesting to eat than the cartel's chocolate, and he's constantly eating them, and then he eventually gets fat throughout the course of the movie. And I thought it was just so goofy how he keeps getting fatter and fatter and fatter in such a short period of time. That was a bit too cartoony. And also, if you're against Wonka's chocolate and you're working for the chocolate cartel that's trying to shut down Wonka's factory and store and stuff like that, why would you be eating Wonka's chocolate if you're his enemy? Like that just didn't make any sense to me. So I didn't really care for Keegan Michael Key in this. Now, The Oompa Loompa, played by Hugh Grant. That was another one of those things I saw in the trailer that I thought was absolutely stupid. Why is Hugh Grant playing an Oompa Loompa? Granted, he looks more like an Oompa Loompa than the ones in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, but like this is blatant. Like we need a star to play a Oompa Loompa, and like watching the trailer the first time seeing him, I thought that would be very distracting. And in the content of the movie, it still was a bit distracting because it's Hugh Grant, but him as the Oompa Loompa, I thought was pretty solid. I liked it a lot more than I thought it was going to. Um, I didn't think they were going to elaborate on Loompa Land in this, but there was a whole subplot with him and Wonka that Hugh Grant's Oompa Loompa is exiled from the other Oompa Loompas from Loompa Land because Wonka stole their coffee beans, and so he's on a mission to get it back. And then I like that's what I kind of thought was interesting that they start out as rivals, Wonka and the Oompa Loompa, and then they eventually grow to become, I wouldn't say friends, but colleagues and work partners. So I like the progression of that character there. So that was interesting. And there was actually a couple of scenes where Hugh Grant was actually able to sing the Oompa Loompa song. So that was kind of fun. But yeah, I mean, I didn't love it still, but I thought, in the context of the movie, it worked better than I thought it was going to be. And speaking of the music, I thought the music in this was pretty good, actually. One thing I think they probably did better, a little bit better than the original, is that I thought the music that they were trying to incorporate in the original felt kind of clunky. Like it felt like the original movie didn't need to be a musical, but the music in that was still pretty good. This one felt more natural with it being a musical. I thought the music in this it worked pretty well. I liked all the songs. It felt much more musical like, so I definitely appreciated that. And once again, I was impressed by Timothy Chalamet with the musical numbers and his singing. So overall, the musical aspect of it worked pretty well. So yeah, overall, if you're looking for a fun family film, this is definitely worth the watch. I guess if you are a fan of the original Willy Wonka movie, it really just depends how hardcore of a fan you are of the original film, which will probably determine how much different this kind of feels from the original, even though this is supposed to be a prequel. But as I said, as a prequel to the original movie, I don't know, this movie felt a little too fantasy like and whimsical like, and it felt way more fantasy, whimsical, musical, goofy ish than the original movie. Like the original had, the goofy stuff and the musical stuff and the fantasy stuff, but like this felt more fantasy like than the original. Like there was still some grounded stuff with the original movie, which this movie didn't really feel grounded at all. Like it really just felt like a fantasy movie, full on Disney fantasy film, which it probably won't bother people, if you're really nitpicking about it. But as I said, it's a really fun family film. I think it's really enjoyable for the whole family to watch. I think the performances, for the most part, are really good. Timothy Chalamet is charming as Willy Wonka. The supporting cast, like Noodle and Jim Carter and Natasha Rothwell, like they were all pretty good. It serves its purpose for the most part. So overall, I will give Wonka a B. It's pretty good. But yeah, that's my thoughts on Wonka. What did you guys think about it? Did you guys love it? Did you guys hate it? Did you guys think it was okay? How does this compare to the other Willy Wonka films? Did you like this more than Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory? Did you like this more than Charlie and the Chocolate Factory? Comment your thoughts down below and let me know. I really, really want them to bring back the Wonka chocolate bars and the other Wonka candy. I really hope this movie is a good enough hit that they'll think about bringing it back. I've said this before in the previous reviews, but I really, really want it now. But anyway, if you guys enjoyed this review, please don't forget to leave a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. And don't forget to hit the bell if you want to be notified on future videos I'll be doing. But that's all I have for you Willy Wonka fans, and I will see you guys next time. I'll talk to you guys later, and I hope you guys have a happy holiday and a happy new year whenever you guys are listening to this. And I'll see you guys next time. Talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.